Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is how to do a subassembly. We're just going to start assembling certain things and putting certain things together. Now, you've already done this a little bit and you've already seen some of how things assemble. So what I'm going to do is I can go in here to an assembly here. This is an IAM. Now, how would you know that? Well, because if we go up here to new, and of course we can go to new here, or we can go to file new, the extension on this is .iam. Okay, which means it's an inventor assembly. Inventor AM assembly. So we're going to double click on that, or we can hit create. And what we're going to do is come up with our screen here. And in our screen, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, instead of this being a drawing area, this is going to be an assembly area. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to place, and I'm going to go in here into 1401, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take the connector, I believe it is, and I'm going to bring the connector in. That's not the piece that I want. So I'm going to escape that, and I'm going to Control Z that out. Go into place. It is going to be the joint. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring the joint in, and I'm going to drop that in there, zoom out a little bit, and I'm actually going to drop two of these in, because what we're going to do is we're going to be doing what we call a subassembly. All right, so I'm going to come in, I'm going to place one of those in there and have that prepared and all set. Okay, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get the connector, I believe. Let's see, crank rod. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the connecting rod here, and I'm going to bring that in as well. Now, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to grab this guy here, and I'm going to go ahead and notice that I've selected it, and I'm going to take that, I'm going to right click on him, and what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm going to go ahead and do what we call grounding. So I'm going to ground that guy there. Now what I've done is I've essentially made it so that he can't be moved. This one can be moved, this one can be moved, and so I can move all sorts of things there. And remember, when you see me change to the hand so quickly, that's because I'm pushing down on my mouse wheel. That becomes the hand. So instead of coming over here and grabbing the hand and moving things around, remember that I can, just press down on the wheel and it becomes the hand. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to come over here to the Constraint tool, which is up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what we call an insert. Okay, now this is important at how you do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to grab this end right here. Now notice how the green line goes around that end and the arrow is pointing in that direction. And now becomes, once I click on it, you can see that the arrow goes that way and it comes in. And what I'm going to do is come out here to this circle and, oh, look at that. It's going the wrong direction. I don't want that to happen. Let me see if I play with this. Oh, look at that. If I come over here and I click on that, it makes it go in the right direction. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply, and I'm going to go ahead and close this out for a minute, because now what I have to do is I have to spin this around. Now, I can come over here to the free rotate tool, but the problem is with the free rotate tool, it rotates everything around. Okay, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is come up here to this free rotate tool, this little one up here, and what this does is it turns individual pieces around. So I'm going to turn this around on the y-axis, and I could also move this on the x-axis if I wanted to, and I can, that's on the on the x-axis. I can move it on the z-axis there too, or I can move it around. Here's the z-axis right here, or I can move it around on all three in here in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and escape that. Once I line things up, I'm going to go ahead and escape that, and I'm going to go back to my Constraint tool, and I'm going to go back into the Insert tool here, okay? And with the Insert tool, I'm going to again grab that. Now, this is going to kind of be neat. So what I can do here is that it intuitively, you can see, oh, there it is. You can see that I can pick up that other side. And so, again, doesn't work that way. but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply this that way, and I'm going to go ahead and apply. Okay, so now I've got this thing all set here, but I need to have this joint set up here. So if you take a look in here, notice how this piece is going to come in here, right? This is the final assembly right here. Notice how these two pieces are coming in, and these have to spin together. So if they're going to spin together, what I have to do is I have to move this. So I've taken away all these degrees of freedom except for this one right here, right? So what I want to do is I'm actually going to have to set this up so it spins with it as well, but I have to set these up here. So I'm going to come in here, and what I've got to do is I'm going to mate these two, but I'm going to do this as a flush. I'm going to flush this face with this face here, and I'm going to apply that. And now this won't spin. Now this will spin. If I had some things on there, that would spin. And but for right now, realistically, I should go ahead and put a work plane in here and make sure that these don't spin together. But because I know geometrically that they are constrained top to bottom, what I'm going to be doing in my final assembly, that is going to suffice. It just means that this isn't going to spin here. But if I wanted to do that, I could come in here, I could just click on that. Now, by double clicking in an assembly, look what it does. It takes me into the IPT of this, which is really pretty cool. So what I can do is I can go in here to a work plane, okay? And I can go over here to an origin, and I can put in an XZ work plane or an XY, a YZ work plane. An XY work plane is there. So I've got to put some type of work plane in here, and I'm going to put in a YZ. And once I get that in there, all I do is I grab it, okay, and I want it there at 0. So I just grabbed and tugged that blue a little bit. I had to put the absolute point on the blue. If I didn't put the point of my cursor on the blue, this would not work. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And I'm going to go ahead. Now I can either hit return here, or I can right click and I can go finish the edit. All right, so now I've got this work plane in there, which is kind of cool. And I can come back in here into my constraint, and I can say, you know what, I'm going to flush these two again. So I'm going to go for that side there and this side right here, and I'm going to apply that. Oh no, it doesn't like the relationship, so somewhere I've done something incorrect. So I'm going to cancel that out. So yeah, it's not a flush that I want to do here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a angle constraint. So I'm going to come over here to angle, and I'm going to go to just a standard direct angle here, and I'm going to pick up that face and this face. I'm going to make it a 0 degree, and I'm going to apply that. All right, and there's our first one done. Now, what I can do is I can come back in here into this piece, because I've got that in there, and I could make that so that it doesn't, so that the work plane is no longer visible. I could just come in here and I can take the visibility off that, or I could leave it in there. It would be either way, it'd be fine, but I'm going to take the visibility off. This time I'm going to hit return over here, and I return in, and there's my sub-assembly for the universal joint. I'm going to then save this. So I'm going to go up to save. I can go anywhere, right? And this is going to be the universal shaft. Now I'm going to name it the universal shaft 2. So for me, I'm going to just name it universal shaft, but I don't want to lose the original one that I had here. So I'm going to come back in here, and I'm just going to go space, and I'm going to put a 2 in there and hit save. So I'm going to click yes to all, and I'm going to click on OK. And there we go. That's the first part done, and looked pretty easy, didn't it? So I hope you guys enjoyed that part. I'm going to go ahead and do some more videos for you to finish this up.